There was a man, 73 years old, who passed away quietly in his bedroom. It was a moment of private pleasure, something he had done for years. But this time it ended differently. Not because masturbation is dangerous in itself, but because after 70, the body changes in quiet, powerful ways. And most men, are never told what those changes truly mean. I'm Dr. James, a men's health expert with over 30 years of experience helping older men stay strong, confident, and full of life. I've seen the difference between those who age with power and those who fade too soon, all because of silent habits no one ever warned them about. You may have heard that self-pleasure is harmless, but what if that's only part of the truth? What if the way you do it now could slowly be harming your prostate, draining your energy, and shrinking your vitality? In this video, I'll share 5 hidden mistakes men over 70 often make and how to avoid them. Especially the last one, because it's the most common. And if ignored, it could cost you more than you think. Before we begin, if you care about protecting your health and vitality as you age, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so you won't miss any future insights designed specifically for men like you. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If you feel it could be improved, type 0. Your feedback helps me create better content that truly serves you. Let's begin with the first silent mistake many older men make. It might seem harmless, but the toll it takes on your body, it's far more serious than most realize. Mistake 1. Rushing through without relaxation. I once sat across from a gentleman named Harold, 76, proud of his independence but deeply concerned. "Doc," he said, "I still want to feel close to myself, but afterward, I don't feel better. I feel sore, restless, and lately I wake up 2-3 times a night just to pee." Harold wasn't alone. This is one of the most common and dangerous mistakes men over 70 make. Rushing through self-pleasure, forcing release without relaxation, seems harmless, but beneath the surface, it's doing more damage than you might imagine. When you tense up your body, hold your breath, and push through quickly, your prostate takes the hit. The pelvic floor muscles tighten, blood vessels constrict, and the gland itself becomes inflamed. In your younger years, your body bounced back. But now those same habits can lead to serious problems: chronic pelvic pain, burning urination, the feeling of pressure in your lower abdomen, and worst of all, prostatitis that can last for weeks or even months. And it doesn't stop there. That constant tension builds over time, disrupting your nervous system and blood flow. Your erections become weaker, your sensitivity dulls, and what used to bring comfort begins to cause discomfort. In some cases, the prostate swells so much that it compresses the urethra, leading to urinary blockages, requiring painful procedures or even surgery. That's the price. Not just discomfort, but real consequences: infection, inflammation, catheterization, and loss of confidence in your own body. Too many men suffer in silence, thinking it's just part of growing old. But it isn't. It's preventable. And it starts with changing the way you treat this part of yourself. Your body is not asking you to stop, it's asking you to slow down, to breathe, to listen, to give it the care it needs now, not the force it could once tolerate. Harold made that shift, and within weeks the pain subsided. His sleep improved. He felt reconnected with himself, with his strength. You can feel that too, but first you have to break the cycle of urgency. And once you do, there's something else you'll need to watch for, something just as dangerous, hiding in plain sight in a place most men never expect. Let's talk about that next. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. Mistake 2. Ignoring lubrication. I once had a patient, Robert, 74, who came to me with a problem he didn't know how to talk about. "It stings afterward," he whispered, embarrassed, "and it lingers for hours. I never had this before." When I asked him if he used any lubrication, he paused. "No," he said, Never needed it. That right there is the trap many older men fall into. They keep doing things the same way they always have, never realizing that what once worked fine at 40 or 50 may now be quietly damaging their body at 70 and beyond. Lubrication isn't just about comfort, it's protection. As we age, the skin around the penis becomes thinner, more fragile, and less elastic. Natural lubrication decreases significantly, and without it, friction increases. And here's the hard truth. Dry stimulation causes micro tears even if you don't feel them right away. These tiny injuries create a pathway for inflammation, infection, and irritation to enter. Over time, they can wear down nerve endings, scar the sensitive tissues around the urethra, and trigger painful urination, itching, or even burning after release. But the most dangerous part? That friction can irritate the prostate itself. Repeated dry stimulation pulls and strains tissues connected deep into the pelvic region, and when the prostate is repeatedly inflamed, it doesn't just swell, it fights back. You may experience sudden urgency to urinate, interrupted flow, or the feeling that your bladder never empties. That's not just annoying, it's the early warning sign of a prostate under pressure. Ignore it long enough and the inflammation can harden into calcified tissue, leading to chronic pain or requiring invasive procedures to fix what a simple habit could have prevented. And the emotional toll is no less important. When something that once brought relief starts bringing discomfort, men pull back. They disconnect, and they begin to wonder if intimacy or even solo pleasure has passed them by. But it hasn't. It's simply asking to be done with more care. Robert made one change. He started using a natural, non-irritating lubricant. Within 2 weeks, the stinging stopped. He felt relief. And more than that, he felt renewed. Small change, big result. Now, if that hit close to home, I urge you to listen carefully, because the next mistake is even more subtle. And it doesn't show up as pain right away. It shows up as something far more dangerous, weakening the very muscles that protect your manhood. Let's talk about that. Mistake 3. Masturbating in the same position every time. I remember a man named Walter, 72 years old, a retired engineer. He told me, "I've got my routine. I lie on my side in bed, same way every time. Quick, quiet, no fuss." He paused, then admitted, "But lately something feels off. I'm stiffer, my lower back aches, and I don't feel as strong as I used to, even down there." What Walter didn't realize, and what most older men never think about, is that always using the same position during self-pleasure slowly erodes the flexibility and strength of the muscles that support your prostate and sexual health. After 70, the body becomes less forgiving. Staying in a single motionless position, especially lying flat or on your side, reduces pelvic mobility, weakens muscle engagement, and slows blood circulation to key areas. Over time, this lack of movement starts to degrade your internal support system. The muscles that once held your bladder and prostate firm begin to slacken. The nerves that respond to touch grow less sensitive, and the blood flow that once kept your erections full and your prostate healthy dwindles. The result? A cascade of issues. You may begin to notice weaker orgasms, reduced control when urinating, or lingering numbness after climax. Some men develop pelvic floor dysfunction, where the muscles lose coordination and start to spasm or tighten uncontrollably. Others experience leakage after urination or the dreaded dribble that follows them into their day. And for a few, the situation becomes even worse. The pelvic floor weakens so much that it leads to erectile dysfunction, pressure on the prostate, and even rectal discomfort. All from lying in the same position over and over again without realizing the damage being done beneath the surface. The emotional weight of this mistake is heavy. When men start to feel weaker in this part of their body, many silently withdraw. They stop seeking intimacy, stop exploring pleasure, and begin accepting a version of themselves that's far less than what they're capable of being. But it doesn't have to be this way. Simple changes, rotating positions, engaging your hips, Gently activating your core can keep blood moving, muscles working, and sensitivity alive. It's not about reinventing your habits, it's about preserving your power. And if you think that's serious, wait until you hear what happens when you skip recovery time altogether. The next mistake may not hurt right away, but it can drain your hormones, exhaust your body, and steal the very desire you're trying to hold on to. Let's take a look. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. Mistake 4. Skipping recovery time. A man named Gerald once told me, "It's not like I'm overdoing it, Doc. I only do it when I feel the urge." He was 75, still sharp, still active, but tired, more tired than usual. He'd been waking up groggy, feeling drained by midday, and struggling with low motivation. At first, he blamed it on aging, but when we talked more deeply, I saw the pattern. Like many older men, Gerald was still pleasuring himself without giving his body the time it now needs to recover. And that right there is the 4th mistake. Skipping recovery time. In younger years, you could bounce back fast. A few minutes of pleasure and you'd move on with your day. But after 70, your system slows down. Circulation, hormone production, and cellular repair all take longer. Self-pleasure, though natural and healthy when done mindfully, still activates your nervous system, engages your muscles, and draws on your body's energy. When you don't rest and recharge after, you slowly begin to exhaust yourself from the inside out. The consequences creep in quietly at first. A little more fatigue than usual, a drop in drive or motivation, sleep that isn't as restful. But the deeper damage goes far beyond that. Without recovery, your testosterone levels can plummet. Your adrenal glands, which help regulate stress, become strained, and your nervous system never fully resets. The result? You feel foggy, sluggish, and emotionally flat. Your body starts viewing pleasure not as a source of joy, but as another stress to manage. But here's the real danger. When your system is constantly on edge, your prostate doesn't get a chance to heal. Inflammation lingers longer. Blood flow to the region drops. And over time, you risk turning a healthy habit into a slow drain on your physical vitality and mental clarity. Some men even begin to lose interest in intimacy altogether, not because they've lost the ability, but because their body is too depleted to respond. When Gerald finally began spacing things out, listening to his energy, resting afterwards, staying hydrated, he started to feel like himself again. His mornings were brighter, his clarity returned, and his desire, instead of fading, grew stronger and more sustainable. That's what recovery gives you: longevity, strength, and peace of mind. But don't think the worst is over yet, because the final mistake may be the most dangerous of all, and it's one that hides behind silence. It doesn't sting, it doesn't ache. But if you don't catch it in time, it could change everything. Let's talk about that next. Mistake 5. Not emptying the prostate completely. There was a man, Frank, 78 years old, gentle and thoughtful, who came into my office with a concern he could barely voice. He said, "I don't always feel finished after, like there's something left inside and it's starting to bother me." That quiet discomfort he described wasn't just in his head. It was the result of something many older men experience without even realizing it: incomplete prostate release during ejaculation. And it's the 5th and perhaps most dangerous mistake of all. As we get older, the muscles responsible for full release lose strength. The contractions that used to be powerful and complete become weaker, slower, and when the prostate doesn't fully empty, leftover fluid can linger inside, thickening, hardening, and creating pressure from within. Most men feel this as a dull ache, a lingering tension, or a growing sense of urinary urgency. But the real danger lies in what's happening under the surface. When the prostate holds stagnant fluid, it becomes a breeding ground for inflammation, irritation, and even calcification. Over time, those leftover proteins and minerals can harden into what we call prostate stones, tiny, painful clusters that press against sensitive tissue and disrupt normal function. And once they form, they don't just go away. They can block ducts, inflame the gland, and in some cases, even contribute to prostate enlargement or raise the risk of cancer. The price of ignoring this mistake is not just physical pain, it's a loss of confidence, of ease, of freedom. You may start feeling like you can't ever fully relieve yourself, that something's always off. Some men begin waking multiple times at night to urinate only to pass small amounts. Others notice dribbling, pelvic tightness, or an unsettling feeling of pressure that won't go away. The worst part, most don't connect it to incomplete release. They just assume it's part of getting old. But it's not. It's your body calling for help. Frank made a few changes, learning to take his time, engaging his pelvic floor gently, and staying present through the full arc of pleasure. With time, his symptoms eased. He felt more complete, more in control, and far less anxious. And that gave him a sense of peace he hadn't felt in years. Because when you give your body what it needs, it rewards you with strength and calm. But ignore its signals and the damage can become permanent. Now, we've covered 5 critical mistakes, but the story doesn't end here, because understanding the risks is only the beginning. What you do next will decide whether your strength fades quietly or comes roaring back. Let's talk about that. Conclusion: reclaiming strength one choice at a time. If you've made it this far, you already understand something that many men never realize until it's too late. Your body, especially after 70, is speaking to you every day. And what may seem like small, harmless habits can quietly chip away at your strength, your prostate health, and your confidence. But here's the truth. Every one of these 5 mistakes is within your power to change. We began by looking at the danger of rushing, how moving too quickly without relaxation can strain your pelvic floor and inflame the prostate, leading to pain, urgency, and eventual dysfunction. Then we uncovered the overlooked importance of lubrication. Without it, dry friction damages sensitive tissue, introduces inflammation, and slowly dulls your body's ability to feel, respond, and heal. Next, we explored the problem of repetition, using the same position every time, which limits circulation, weakens pelvic support, and eventually erodes sensitivity and control. Then we talked about the cost of skipping recovery. Without giving your body the time it now needs to rest, you rob it of hormone balance, energy restoration, and emotional calm. And finally, we revealed the silent damage caused by not fully emptying the prostate. This one mistake alone can lead to hardened fluid buildup, stones, pressure, and long-term complications that most men never see coming until it's too late. So today, you're not just walking away with information. You're walking away with responsibility to slow down, to breathe, to move your body with intention, to hydrate, rest, and allow yourself time to recover, to stay aware of what your body is telling you even in its quietest moments. These aren't just tips, they're acts of respect for a body that has carried you through decades of life. You may have been taught to push through, to stay silent, to ignore discomfort. But aging isn't about giving in, it's about becoming wiser. And with that wisdom comes the power to protect what matters most: your independence, your vitality, your ability to feel like yourself. Change doesn't require massive effort. It starts with small, consistent choices, ones you can make starting today. And if you commit to those changes, your prostate, your energy, and your sense of self can not only survive, they can thrive. Because this chapter of your life isn't about loss. It's about reclaiming strength, one mindful choice at a time. The next step is yours to take. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.